Hello, everyone! As we're currently waiting for the highly anticipated 69th episode of Skibidi Universe series to get released, which I already predict to be super epic, I continue my section of videos where I analyze the old Skibidi episodes. And today I'm going to analyze episodes 45 and 46 for you guys. So I'll show you all the details and Easter eggs you might have missed. Get your tea and snacks ready. It's going to be really interesting. Let's go. The 45th episode starts with the grand battle between Titan Cinemaman and Infected Titan Speakerman, which is the continuation of events from episode 44. In the very first frame we see Plungerman, which is only the second time we could see him in the third person at this point in the series. The first time was in episode 43. Although we know him as a literal battle machine now by the moment of episode 68 being released, he's not really doing much here. He's just hiding behind the wall as the really big boys crush one another. By the way, check out this little explosion from the left that seemed to come out of nowhere. I think the culprit of it was Titan Speakerman fighting off-screen. He probably threw something near that building's wall that burst out afterwards. And check out this unlucky Skibidi who flew straight to the Titan Speakerman. Honestly, I don't know what he was expecting, as this was the most ordinary and unprepared Skibidi Toilet I've ever seen in my life. The only thing he had was the propeller that allowed him to fly, but that's it. This dummy pays for his own recklessness, as Titan Speakerman then tosses him away and made him smash into the ground. R.I.P. For one brief second, the camera goes off the left side, and we can see Dafuk behind this window. It seems like he's looking through the POV somehow, and a couple of seconds later he disappears, so we're not seeing him in the same place anymore. But don't miss him for too long, guys. It's not the only time we'll see him today. Then everything gets concentrated on the two Titans' quick and fierce confrontation. Press F for this poor Christmas tree being knocked off to the ground by the infected Titan Speakerman. And by the way, Happy New Year, guys. The holidays are really close, which makes me really excited. But moving back to the series. As we remember from the ending of episode 44, Titan Speakerman produced a loud noise before attacking Titan TV Man. So I made a guess that he probably still kept some of his wits untouched, and the parasite's influence didn't capture his whole nature. Here I see the other side of my thought. It's clear to me that Titan TV Man does not want to actually hurt this guy. Even the phrase he says right here, which is, "Come here," does not sound as a threat, but rather as a request. Besides that, I found the behavior of Plungerman in this scene really funny. He doesn't even try to help Titan Cinemaman, he just keeps flexing at the wall. Truly, he will face a great change in his character just a few episodes later. In the scene when Titan TV Man prepares to launch, look at two of his propellers attached to his shoulders. This is the second and the last time you'll see that type of a gear on him, as he'll break it in this episode, and they won't ever appear on him again, which is a pity. They look really cute, especially while spinning. Now look here, as Titan Cinemaman attacks the infected Titan Speakerman, he's not really aiming to his head or chest, but to one of his speakers. He manages to rip it off with the usage of his retractable defense blades from the back. And I think this is really significant. I am sure he did that in order to get to the parasite, or to at least make it easier for someone else to remove it without destroying Titan Speakerman. And I think his intentions were clear not only to me, as the infected Titan tries to flee immediately in order to prevent this from happening. And I also assume this is the reason for Titan Speakerman to get heavily upgraded by the episode 56, and possibly the parasite itself too. By the way, I'm not really sure why didn't Titan Cinemaman just use his awesome red glow that would destroy the parasite in seconds. Or maybe this glow is so powerful that it would ruin Titan Speakerman's body as well. In this case, I can understand why would Titan Cinemaman keep it. Then he makes a pissed-off TV screen expression, and in the shorts version of this episode he says another phrase, "I will find you," which goes like, "I will find you." After that, he teleports away. And in the last second before the episode ends, we can notice those familiar red-lit towers that we already saw in the background of episode 43, indicating it's still the same location. Episode 46 starts with the scene where we can see an ordinary Speakerman dressed in quite unusual green suit. We didn't see those too often in this series. He's busy with this Skibidi, who has some red color on his face. I wonder what that might be. Is it some sort of scar on his face, or is it an artifact of the video? In any case, this guy doesn't stay with us for a long time. In the next scene, we see Titan Speakerman flying through the whole area at lightning speed. I know the reason for him to hurry. The parasite controlling his body doesn't want to be removed at all, So the infected Titan is in the rash to get to the Skibidi base or some other place where he can dress the wound and upgrade further. By the way, the area he skims through is kind of open space, and aside from a few signs we can see, which are cheap prices, motel, ocean view, there's not much to look at the moment. I definitely caught the church building that can be seen behind the upturned giant toilet tank, but I think this church was a part of the map used by Dafouk to create this episode, so I can't say there's some special meaning in it. As Titan Speakerman leaves the scene, we see Titan Cinemaman appearing in the vortex of black mist. And wait a minute, is that Dafouk once again, resting on the tree trunk? I'll come back to this guy later because I have some thoughts about how and why did he appear in this episode too. Now let's talk about Titan Cinemaman a bit. As you can see, after the teleportation, he lost the detached speaker he got from Titan Speakerman in the battle, although in the end of episode 45 we could clearly see the dangling speaker's wire on his left shoulder. By the way, I noticed a sign on the wall of the building near the place Titan appeared at, which sounds like reception. And I didn't see any mystery in here, actually. What's more exciting, though, is the noise coming to us from the right side of the screen. As we follow the line of Titan TV Man's sight, we firstly see the bits of explosion, pillar of black smoke, and a bunch of cameramen fleeing from someone. Now, I want to draw your attentions, guys, to one thing. Do you see this one cameraman whose pants seems to be of a light blue color instead of traditional white? I know, this may sound a tiny bit crazy, but what if this cameraman is the white Terracotta Brother, who, as we're well aware of now, is connected with Dafouk's character? And I can support my theory with two things. First, there's Simp Cameraman that can be clearly seen in the end of this episode. Simp Cameraman and the White Bro are coming from one team. I mean, even their first appearance in the series was in the same shot in episode 3. If Simp is here, then it would be logical to assume that the White Bro's also somewhere in the neighborhood. And second, we already saw the appearance of the secret agent twice in a row, which may be just a coincidence, of course. But based on what we already know about the plot arc of the White Terracotta Brother and Dafouk, I wouldn't let it go that easily. By the way, if you don't really know what I'm talking about right now, I highly recommend you to watch my recent video about those two, where I explained how the secret agent and the White Bro turned out to be connected, and why did it happen. And now we see the main star of today's show. Just look at this monstrous thing. It's the giant vacuum Skibidi urinal. It seems like this is the latest Skibidi scientist's invention with all sorts of upgrades to resist Titan Cinemaman's influence. His eyes are removed, and instead we see the monobrow-like huge metal scrap encircling his head. His ears are filled with the metal stud, which makes it impossible for this Skibidi to hear, and thus get any damage from Titan Cinemaman's speakers. He also has a powerful jetpack from the behind that helps him accelerate. I can see it in this scene where the fire gushes out of him as he's charging at Titan TV Man. And honestly, despite his generally smart construction, this guy still scares me as nothing else. He's just so uncanny and creepy, and the way he sucks all those cameramen inside of his giant mouth doesn't help at all. As Vacuum Skibidi Urinal is unable to hear or see, he uses this little retractable camera to navigate himself in the area instead. On the sides, he's also equipped with some sort of melee weapons that remind me a lot of a certain Half-Life 2 textures. He rashes to Titan Cinemaman at crazy speed and attempts hitting him with his melee weapon, but Titan uses his speakers to block the punch, which astonishes this huge, scary prick. By the way, I already saw how Speakerman used this ability before. Let's take episode 37, for example, or episode 61, where we could see how Speakerwoman was able to navigate her darts with the sound wave playfully. Titan Cinemaman finishes this awful abomination within seconds while saying the phrase, "disgusting." Can't really argue with that, I must say. After the victory, we can see the maniacally cheerful expression on his TV screen, which is something I notice about Titan TV Man a lot. This guy likes having fun after finishing his opponents in the very grotesque or brute ways. What a guy. After that, he teleports once again, continuing to chase Titan Speakerman. As the fuss finally ceased, Simp Cameraman and the other survivors got to look out of the monster's open mouth, which reminded me of that scene where Kratos and Atre were getting out of the world serpent. I am 100% sure this is the Simp we know and love, because he'll appear once again just a few episodes later to fall in love with TV Woman, which would change his whole life. He looks straight to us and gives a thumbs up, which is something I'd really appreciate from you guys too. And that was it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel not to miss any new interesting videos. And that was me, Iso Toilet. See ya!